It's March 16th, 2023, and welcome to the best goddamn show on the internet. I'm Colton Wallace, here with Quinn and Kudrow.
You're bringing the energy tonight.
Yeah, I was just thinking that myself. He's pumped up. I like it.
Yeah, what's up, guys?
Not much. How are the technical difficulties? Are they getting better at it?
Had to restart my computer again today.
I'm actually a little disappointed because, last week, we had to wait. It was just 5 minutes of Quinn and I talking about the tech problems, and now we can't do a segment of it because you got it fixed.
This time what happened was it didn't work, and I just immediately restarted my computer. I didn't test anything else. I'm like, all right, we'll just restart. So I blame Windows. This is a Microsoft problem. Maybe we shouldn't let them buy Bethesda.
What if it's just like plug-in issues from all of your audio equipment?
Yeah, probably. But how am I going to solve that?
I was just thinking, because I was just arguing with Quinn. It's like, you probably have the most complex setup of any of us, and yet you also have the most problems.
Well, it comes from having all the audio stuff set up, but it's like I'm not gonna not have the audio stuff,
right?
So what am I? I don't know. It was working well for a while. The computer is very stable now, but the audio stuff just melts all the time. So you gotta pick and choose, I guess.
Wow. All right. Well, what we have tonight? We got Making of Resident Evil.
Yeah.
2002.
2002, the original. Movie. Yeah. Mila Jovovich.
I think it's Jovovich.
Djokovic. Sorry, I'm not trying to butcher your name. I literally don't know how to pronounce it, and I've heard many different
Jovovich, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's a song. No, hold on.
I believe it's Jovovich.
I don't think so, Quinn.
No,
I'm gonna vote against your pronunciation.
All right, well,
it's Russian, I think, because I think she's from. Actually, I think she's from Ukraine.
All right, well, use your Russian pronunciation expertise to tell us how it's pronounced. Then.
Hold on, I'm trying to find it.
Hold on.
We'll also be talking about.
Okay, so what I'm seeing is Jovovich.
Quinn was doing important stuff, Kudrow.
No, it's okay. We got that figured out. Jovovich.
Quinn, what else are we talking about today?
Well, I was thinking, and I talked to Kudrow, we could talk about what games you wouldn't want to be remastered, considering all the different games that are getting remastered right now.
That is such a good idea.
I feel like you guys would have some good perspectives on that.
Now, when you say wouldn't want to get remastered, like as in they don't need to be remastered, or they're so bad that you don't even want them to, like, what?
I was thinking more towards the former.
Okay.
I mean, you could even make an argument. It's like games that are already so perfect as it is, like a remaster just has a chance to ruin them.
I think that's kind of how I was thinking of it in my head.
No, that
the game's great how it was.
You got me right on.
Yeah. I don't have anything right now. But
Kudrow, you got anything right on top of your head there?
I mean, the immediate thought that comes to mind for me is Bloodborne. Like, there are so many people who scream for a remaster of Bloodborne already, and I'm just always like, no.
Kudrow, are you sure?
Need one.
Are you sure they don't just want a port? Because I believe it's people want a port of Bloodborne. Because
there are people legitimately who scream for a Bloodborne remaster, and the reason they scream for it is because when Bloodborne was a PS4 launch title.
Yeah.
And the combat is kind of locked in at 30 FPS. The reason why most of them scream for a remaster is because they want it up at 60 FPS, which most modern action titles are actually at.
I know you're used to like playing on consoles and stuff, but we here in the computers are pretty used to our 60 FPS.
I play 60
at the
FPS
minimum
games all the time, and I still don't think it's a big deal.
So, okay, if you just like literally put it on if you put Bloodborne on a modern computer, couldn't you just say, hey, run it at 60 instead of 30? Is that a remaster? Or is that just, I don't know if that would count as a remaster, but I would love if they would put Bloodborne on like the PC, because I'm not going to go get a PS4 to play Bloodborne. Bloodborne seems like a really cool game, but I'm not going to get a PS4 and play it likely. Like literally, I would have to get a PS4 solely to play Bloodborne.
Well, I mean, you could get a PS5 now. I mean, you can play Bloodborne on PS5.
Oh, I could just get a PS5.
You could do that too.
I heard those are hard to procure.
I think they're easy now, but they're still like $600.
I don't think they're that pricey, unless you're buying it from a scalper.
What's the base price? 500?
4 or 5, I think. But it depends on if you get one with a hard drive or online only.
I'm a bit out of touch, huh? I don't know how much a PS5 costs. Okay, so Bloodborne. That's Bloodborne. All right. What game would I not want to see a remaster of?
See, Bloodborne is a game I don't think needs to be remastered. But as far as a game I wouldn't want to see remastered, I need to put a little bit more thought into.
It's got to be like games with heavy nostalgia, right?
That's what my mind went to immediately.
If somebody said, "Hey, we're gonna remaster Phantasy Star Online," I would be like, "That sounds sick," but at the same time, I'd be on the forums every day, being like, "If they fuck this up."
Good.
I know sometimes like remasters and remakes can often come with disappointment. Like another controversial opinion, I was disappointed with the Demon's Souls remake.
Oh, here we go. Why?
Okay, so I'm gonna say the good and the bad.
Okay.
The good is the updated visuals were fantastic to see. Like they definitely did a very wonderful job rebuilding Boletaria. But that was all they did. There was nothing else. All the enemy AI was still the same janky enemy AI that it was on the PS3, which has aged very poorly.
Yeah.
And particularly like a lot of the boss designs were also and when I say boss designs, I mean like it's kind of the same thing. Like they had an opportunity to redo some of the bosses, and they didn't. I think Demon's Souls has some of the worst bosses in the Souls franchise.
Well, it was the first one. I think you're bringing up the exact problem they have when doing these remasters is if you get somebody who comes in and it's like, oh, we're going to improve the game and make stuff better, they go through and do that. And then like they literally get like review bombed later on because like, oh my God, you changed the game. This isn't what I played when I was, 10 years younger.
Oh, you're completely right. But I don't understand those people because it's the same, like, you can also just if you want the original experience, just play the original Demon's Souls.
Listen, right. I don't know if you've ever been on Twitter, but that's not how they think. No, I get what you're saying, Kudra. Like when you talking to me, I'm like, yeah, I get it. But if you look at the reaction to these games, it's like no matter what happens, like you have one side where they're like, oh, you did too much to the game. It's not the same game anymore. Mm-hmm. Then you have the other side where you're like, well, why didn't they try and improve some of the things?
Yeah.
I feel like I fall on your side of like, I would rather they take a gamble and try and improve things, kind of like you saw with like the Resident Evil remakes that have done amazingly. Mm-hmm. And like the Metroid Prime remaster where they fix the controls. I haven't played it yet, but I've heard the controls are like much more fixed for the dual analog, which is what I want. Mm-hmm. So from my personal perspective, I'm all for it.
Well, first, I just want to point out you can't use Twitter as a good argument because they're usually a vocal minority, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because Twitter people are crazy. But there's also Reddit people. So there's multiple types of communities that are kind of, I guess, vocal minorities.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I guess my mind immediately jumps to is the person that's creating the game. Are they doing it for money or are they doing it to create a good experience? I think that's what it comes down to me.
I'm not against like remakes of these games. Like the Resident Evil 4 remake, for example, that's coming out soon. It looks really good. Like it looks like they're trying to improve it. And I'm fine with that idea. I don't have a problem with them reusing the same stuff to make like a newer updated game. So I think I'm okay with it.
Wait,
That's
when
what it
did
sounds
Resident
like to
Evil
me.
4 originally released? 2005?
GameCube era, so like GameCube, Xbox, PS2.
Mhm. I literally just saw a video clip of that game. I don't know. I was
Yeah.
scrolling through something and
But
yeah,
okay,
I don't know.
but yeah, PlayStation 2, but it's also ported for like modern consoles as well. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I mean, I guess I'm on the side of remakes that try and do something with the old game. Like I'm
Yeah.
cool with like changes.
Mhm.
I I don't like the idea of like, oh well, this is what it was like 15 years ago, so we need to leave it that way.
Right.
I'm definitely not on the side of like just leave it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to think if there's any other games that I would be like, no, don't remaster this game.
Yeah, I mean, it just sounds like you don't have a problem with any game getting remastered as long as it's done well.
No, I think maybe I don't. Like I'm cool. Like try it out, see what happens.
Right.
Yeah, even games I like, it kind of feels like, yeah, I want them to try it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't feel like I feel like it's unfair to hold developers like that, where it's like, no, don't create anything new, just like exactly what we had before. But I also think that's like a fallacy of like the request. I want the exact thing I felt 20 years ago.
Right.
But that's not real. Like you'll play that and be like, oh, maybe I don't want this.
Well, it's funny when I'm thinking, all I have are Souls examples. That's all I'm about. That's all I am. Because like when the Dark Souls remaster came out, I felt like originally like people were kind of hyped about it, and then it came out and everyone hated it.
Oh shit!
I mean, once again, I was kind of in the camp of this game isn't that old. It doesn't need it doesn't really need one yet. But hey, I'm a vocal minority. I feel like that's the problem with remasters though, is like games can just be like 5-6 years old and they're already like remastered.
Well, that was the big thing that happened with wasn't it The Last of Us?
Oh yeah,
but it like tied in with when the TV show came out, so it was like, oh, we're gonna get new sales off the TV show, so let's do this. And I guess that's fine. Can you be mad at them for that?
No, I don't blame Naughty Dog for doing that. I mean, they're trying to make their money, and by all accounts, they probably succeeded.
And to be fair, like now, as a person, like I would say, like if I'm watching a TV show of a game I've never played before and I want to play the game, I'll be like, yeah, I'll take the new updated graphics one. Thank you. So I don't know that I'm that mad about it. I'd be like, I'd probably go for the new one, even if you presented the option to me. I'd be like, no, I'll take the new remastered one.
Yeah, I mean, for people who haven't played the game before, I feel like that's fine. But
and
if I was someone who had already played The Last of Us, and then only like a handful of years later, they're already coming out with a remaster, I'd probably thinking to myself, why do I need this? What? Sure. I don't want this.
But it's not for you at that point, right? Gamers don't take that point very well, though. Like they get very obsessive about that kind of stuff. But to me, it's like, okay, cool. That's a good idea. You're expanding that market, and people who are just coming in from watching that TV show want to play the game. Even me, who plays a lot of games, like I'd be like, no, I'll take the new remastered one. That sounds cool. Like I'll take some better graphics, sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what, you piss off the purists? That's about it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it almost is like as hardcore as like music genres that you see, like where they're like, oh, this band sold out, or this band, it's not what their last CD was.
Like
it's
snobby almost.
In a way, yeah. You get that like hard edge to a lot of game genre followers. The same thing with like the get good people for like Souls-like games.
Right.
It's like the discussions you have, like you want to talk about, oh, should games be this hard? Should they have different modes? And you could have a discussion about that, but instead it just evolves into get good, scrub.
Yeah, someone's eventually going to flame with that, which is really unfortunate because there are, I mean, certain Souls-like games have definitely had their problems with design, and they needed to be discussed, not just brushed off.
Right, but it just evolves into that conversation, and I think it's a thing where, like, because I struggled with every Souls game. I hit a wall in every one of them, at least one wall. I quit Sekiro, and but like, the thing I enjoyed about those games was that level challenge, that everybody that played the game had that same challenge, and you could go on and look at things about people facing the same exact challenge. I thought that was really cool. I don't think it's wrong that other games have an easier mode or a harder mode, but I do think I have enjoyed some of the experiences I've had with those straight level difficulty games. And I've even quit some of them because I'm like, I'm not going to do this. But I don't have a problem with that kind of difficulty. I think it's good.
I think it's kind of branching off topic, but my problem with difficulty modes is just that no developer balances them well.
Yeah. Well, so talking about difficulty modes, my problem with difficulty modes is where there is no rigidity to them. So like I'm playing Persona 5 right now, and like you can just go to the menu and change difficulty at any point in the game. But what I don't understand what it does or why I would do that. Or
I think once you flip it to easy, though, I don't think you can flip it back.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, because when I went to the menu, it allowed me to, like, because I was like, can I make this a little harder? But then like there's no like association with it, or like it almost feels like irrelevant. So I'm like, okay, well, there's no reason for me to change it. It doesn't do anything.
Well, there definitely is a difference. So I would say honestly, Persona 5 can probably be the easiest in the Shin Megami Tensei franchise if you go normal or easy.
Yeah.
If you go into hard mode, it probably ups it to typical games in that franchise.
I got you.
And then Merciless is the big thing with Merciless is, yes, enemies do more damage, but the bigger thing is that criticals, like, so if an enemy hits you with a status effect you're weak to or a critical hit, yeah, you might just get game over immediately.
Yeah, and that comes back to the balancing, right? Where they're like, how can we balance this to be really hard? Just make it one hit them.
Or at the very least, you're in Pain Town.
Yeah.
That's the best way I can phrase it.
So that doesn't necessarily sound like fun to me.
Yeah, that's why I've never played Persona on Merciless. When I played 5 and Royal, I played it on hard.
I've been debating going to hard mode because I think it's a bit easy. So the game I've been playing over the last week is Persona 5 Royal.
For the last like 3 weeks now.
Yeah, but that's mostly what I played in the last week, and I'm still loving it. My thoughts on Persona 5 Royal at this point are, I like it a lot. I love the story. Compared to Persona 4, the story is a lot better. But I wish it was a little harder. Like some of the stuff, just a little bit.
Then bump up the difficulty.
I've been thinking about it, but then I clicked on it and I'm like, what's this even do?
So back to the difficulty.
Yeah,
I guess it'd be in terms of scaling, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess one set difficulty versus multiple difficulties, the developer is more likely to just try and create the best overall game and then have some certain, maybe not linear settings for difficulty, but
it tends to be the fact that all of them balance it the same way. So
right.
So like enemies. So typically, when you're looking at enemy scaling with difficulty modes, like enemies have more health and do more damage,
right?
And you do less damage and take more damage.
Yeah.
So really, most of the time, all the game is doing is it's just turning the like particularly harder encounters into that much more of a battle of attrition and a grind.
Right. That's very common, though.
It's just not.
It doesn't always feel good.
Yeah, and it's not really an interesting way to scale difficulty.
Yeah,
There's no
rarely
meaning
does
to
it feel good, especially at like the tippy top of that difficulty. Like you go
Right.
up to hard, you're like, okay, yeah, but then when you get to extreme, it's just like, well, this is dumb. Like you can like once you get to the highest difficulties, you can like clearly see the strings they're pulling, and it's just like, okay, cool. So you can just one shot me now. That's how you made it harder. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just.
I'll go ahead.
I was gonna say my only kind of association with the at least best game in terms of association with a standard difficulty or one difficulty game is Elden Ring.
Yeah,
and it just seems like you take more time to develop the game. At one difficulty allows you to play with it more, I guess.
Yeah, I think another argument you could have is the perfect example to look at of this is Skyrim. So Skyrim has in a lot of the dungeons, it has this scaling difficulty that will scale to your level. And as I got to like 50 plus hours into Skyrim, it started to feel like no matter what I did, it was always the same because it just scaled to whatever level I was. So you don't feel the power increase. And that's probably one of the biggest falters of Skyrim is how strict that level scaling seems to be. And a lot of other games copied that. I would say Skyrim was like one of the games to do that, and other games have done it too, but I really hate just strict scaling off your level stuff. Like you build an open world and just scale it completely around whatever level the character is, because you don't ever feel any power progression. And I would say Elden Ring, like you're saying, is the prime opposite example of that, where like if you go into a level that's too high for you, and they just fuck you up, and you're like, oh, whoops.
Right. That's what I kind of meant was kind of a good example of the opposite.
Skyrim's like the alternate to that.
Right.
Yeah. I was just thinking back to when I tried to play Skyrim on legendary difficulty.
Master?
I can't think of them. Huh?
Master.
No, legendary. When they I think when they released Skyrim, one of the more recent times, they added a legendary difficulty.
Oh, like above Master.
Yeah.
Oh.
I can't think of a more tedious combat encounter in my life.
I gotcha.
I
didn't know they released it with a higher difficulty. Anyways, what else we got this week? You guys play
the FaZe Clan.
FaZe Clan.
FaZe Clan is in the news.
What about FaZe Clan?
Well, their earnings call is at the end of this month.
All right. They going bankrupt?
Well, they may have to delist from the stock exchange.
I didn't know they're on the stock exchange. Sorry, I didn't know.
They went public at, I think, a little over 400 million in valuation.
Holy shit.
By Forbes.
Okay.
And then now they're valued, I think, at like 31 million or between like 30 and 40 million.
Oh, okay.
Based off their stock price, which is below 50 cents.
I gotcha. So is it the time to buy FaZe Clan at the dip right now?
No. They go because they go.
No, also we're not financial advisors,
right? If you go below like $1,
you get to listen. You go to Pink Sheets OTC, yeah,
right,
yeah. I know what you're talking about.
So I mean, it's just not looking good for FaZe.
Yeah, Kudrow, what do you know? Actually, this is a great Kudrow quiz. Kudrow, have you ever heard of FaZe Clan?
The esports organization.
Okay, but before we said it like 2 minutes ago.
Not thoroughly. But I knew they were esports, but I can't really tell you any games or such that they host. The only one that, although esports, I don't think they do Smash Bros. Probably some first-person shooter like Counter-Strike.
Oh, there you go. He got it.
So FaZe Clan was, I think they're most famous for their trick shot videos. Is kind of how they got started. Their Call of Duty trick shot videos. They originally started out with making montages essentially, and then they gained popularity and kind of morphed into an esports organization. And I believe they're the first esports organization to go public as a public company. And turns out esports is not very
crashing.
It's just not very profitable.
It almost seems like it stretched beyond its current.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it matched the bubble, kind of the influx of dollars into everything. It was
I
the
think
new
you get
trendy thing.
You get a weird thing though, because like some esports get like a mega amount of viewers,
right?
But it doesn't necessarily translate into like, oh, let's open these companies in the United States and like run them like a business, and it's gonna make all this income.
Right.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, that was just kind of a tidbit I thought I'd throw in. So just watch out for that. FaZe clans may be going down, along with the banks. But that's for tomorrow's podcast.
That's for tomorrow's podcast. The Friday morning finance review.
Anyway, guys, what have you guys been playing?
Have you been playing anything?
Lately, what have I been playing? Yeah, God, have I even played? I did play a little bit more of
Wulong
over the weekend.
And
I mean, it's still fun. The combat system's a lot of fun to engage with.
Yeah.
I don't really have much to say about the story. That's
too early to say.
It's kind of Team Ninja's thing, though, where it's
the story seems like shit from like the first hour.
I wouldn't say that, because I feel like it's kind of like Neo, where unless you have like a pretty good understanding of Japanese history, you're going to miss out on a lot of the story. They did a little bit better with Neo 2 in that regard, but and it kind of seems like the same thing here with Wulong, where they have a really great combat system, but unless you, in this case, have a pretty good understanding of Three Kingdoms China, you're probably going to miss a lot of the story.
I got you.
I mean, that's common knowledge, though, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So fun fact here, and something I've been playing in Persona, you get these little, because you do like daily life stuff in Persona, so you'll be in class and it'll just ask you fucking questions about like Chinese and Japanese like historical culture. But like in the Edo period, this guy did this. What else did he do? And it'll just literally ask you that question. I'll be like, I don't know.
Well, actually, one of the things I appreciated about those questions, like, because a lot of times they actually tie into facets of the story, or they're used to like foreshadow certain events.
If we can say something about Persona 5, the mini games are really cool. There's this thing where you can play the crossword every once in a while. It's like on the table in your day in the evening, and you just play the crossword. I play the crossword every time. Listen. If you just told me like here's a game where you can play crossword, I'd tell you to fuck off. But if you just put like random crosswords in the middle of Persona, I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever. I can play a little crossword. It doesn't make any sense, but I love just doing like these 3 little crossword words.
It's like your halftime, your sliced oranges.
Right. There's like a darts mini game. Not actually it's fine, but like it's only fun in like the context where they put it in this story. And like I'm just like, I'll do like one crossword right now. That'll be fun.
It's immersive.
Then Jessica and I sit on the couch and we like try to think like what is this Japanese thing here that's 5 letters? And I'm like, shit, I don't know. But
so do you solve them all?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can't not. I have to. I said
you cheat.
No, we haven't yet on the crosswords. I won't say we. I won't say we won't. Jessica's cheated on a couple of the questions. I'm more like I'll just get it wrong. But Jessica's Persona's not a game about min-maxing. However, my wife Jessica is like, well, we can't get it wrong. Me, I'm just like, no, let's do it. But the crosswords, what was the one? There was a recent one. It took us like 10 minutes to solve. We sat there for 10 minutes looking at it. Oh, wardrobe. The crossword was like changes with the season. The answer was wardrobe. And it took us a good 10 minutes to figure that out.
Yeah.
But
Okay, I have to take umbrage with one of the things you just said. Persona is not a game about min-maxing.
Here we go.
Do you even
Here we
Velvet
go.
Room?
Here we
Persona
go.
Persona
Here we go. Yeah, he's gonna tell me all the names of the personas now.
No, I'm not that familiar with that. I actually filled out the Persona compendium
Yeah,
in
I'm
the
not
base
gonna
game
do that.
Persona 5.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
But
I don't know what's
I mean,
happening.
the entire point of the Velvet
For your
Room is to like
Pokemon, he's filled out the
combine.
whole Pokedex in Persona. Is what he's
Oh
trying to tell you.
man.
Yeah,
Well, funny you say that because the original Shin Megami Tensei
it's
actual
before Pokemon. Yeah, I
it
know.
predates.
It's on
Pokemon.
the. It's. Listen, if you look at early Persona games, it's like the Super Nintendo with. Well, I guess technically, sorry, Persona was on the PS1, the first one, but
I
like
feel
it's
like I'm
just
in
like
Persona in class.
yeah, no, it's fucking wild. But yeah, I would say if you play Persona like I do, it's not a game about min maxing. You're trying to max it, but you're not like you're just in you're taking your time, Kudrow.
Yeah,
enjoying
I
the
mean, it
game.
literally says that in the corner whenever you transition into a new area.
This is hilarious.
Oh man. Yeah, so Persona is the only thing I played really. I watched the movies. I posted about them. I will just do it quick here. There's a movie called Balls Out, Gary the tennis coach. Fucking atrocious. I gave it an F. You can see my thoughts on Twitter. That movie sucks. Don't watch it. Then I watched a movie called A Way Out, and I thought it was just going to be a generic sports, like high school sports drama, but it's actually really good. It really focuses around the main character, Jack. It's played by Ben Affleck, and it's his alcoholism, and it really intertwines it with the story. And it's actually a really good movie. The way it kind of blends in there is really good, and it doesn't feel like cheesy too much. And then, of course, it comes back later with the tragedy he went through, and like,
Is this the one where he's like an NBA coach and then he?
No,
Is he
he
a player?
He was a player in high school.
Was a player.
Yeah, and then you figure out, but then later you figure out all this tragedy he went through, and it's like, oh God,
so maybe I'm
yeah.
thinking of a different movie. Because
Maybe.
wasn't there recently a movie where that was the case, where he was like a NBA coach or something like that, and then he did a crime of some sort.
He did a crime.
And probation.
I'm not sure.
thinking. It's not this one though.
Maybe
obviously.
not. I don't know,
Okay.
but A Way Out. It was actually a really good movie. I was really surprised. I give it a B. It's a good movie.
That's good.
Yeah. Anything else from you guys this week?
I just want to talk about the Overwatch ranking system real fast because we just don't know how it works.
I'm gonna zone out for 5 minutes.
It just seems to be no rhyme or reason based on your stats in your game, I guess.
For what?
For Overwatch 2.
We're back. We're on the Overwatch 2 stuff.
Yeah,
again.
just real fast.
This is the Overwatch 2 minute here.
That's why I said I was zoning out.
Quinn, I can say as an Overwatch 1 player for a solid 3 years, your stats don't matter.
The stats don't matter. It's just
Nothing
about
matters.
W's and L's.
Nothing matters. You're going to go and you're going to be like, I've practiced a lot at this game. And then you're going to go into a competitive game and somebody's going to be like, sorry, I've never played this role before. It's not my fault. And then, then from the chat. So how do I rank up? You don't. You just be thankful for whatever the Overwatch competitive gods have given you, and you live your life. Maybe play League.
Well, that's worse. Yeah, stuck at bronze 5, re-ranking to bronze 5 a couple times. Just terrible.
That's all right. That's a rank.
It's the last rank.
No, it's okay. It's still
It's
a
the
rank.
worst rank, Kudrow.
I'm not.
Kudrow, can you tell us how many games you've played with a rank system?
Yeah.
None. He's played none.
Like
I don't think-
online multiplayer?
Yeah, none.
Yeah.
That was the point. Is that the point is Kudrow plays no
Anyway,
online
okay.
competitive multiplayer.
So obviously Overwatch 2 there's no rhyme or reason, so we can move on. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just wanted to ask you because I know you had some experience.
Yeah, I don't think so. My biggest problem with Overwatch was I felt like I was improving, but I would play these games and like it was like I was just like, what? How are you? You're ranked here too, and it's like, all right, well, I guess that's what the game's decided.
I more run into the other issue of I just get literally shit on by some people, and
by
I'm
the
like,
other team.
I'm like, what?
Oh,
I'm
okay.
terrible at this game. Why are you giving me these people?
If we're talking about the other team, I feel like my experience with Overwatch is either one team is heavily advantaged over the other. So my experience with Overwatch is either we win by a heavy margin or the other team wins by a heavy margin, and
Gotcha.
it doesn't matter what I did.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely felt like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I
But-
feel like I'm not to the point where I know all of the nuances of
Yeah.
Overwatch. Like for most multiplayer games, there's usually like a meta that people know
Yeah.
about. I have
Okay.
no idea what
I'm
the
sure-
hell is going on.
Oh,
So
yeah, I'm sure they're probably meta, but I think Overwatch is a really hard game to balance.
yeah,
To balance ranks because you have extreme FPS elements with
Right.
extreme MOBA elements. So I think MOBA games are hard to balance anyways, but
Mhm.
then it's like MOBA elements combined with hard FPS elements. Because other MOBA games have skill shots, which sure, but Overwatch has such like hard FPS elements in it mixed with MOBA elements. And I imagine that's really hard to balance a rank system of. Because I think the problem is how do you balance a Mercy player against a McCree player? Or not
Right.
McCree. You know, I to me, I think that's the problem. How do you balance those two players?
well, what do you just balance by rank, right? I mean, that's how they do it. You split up, so you not necessarily have
Right,
the
but
same rank.
how do you rank them? How do you rank a Mercy player versus how do you rank somebody who plays Mercy and
You collect data. I don't know.
I think the problem is like, okay, so you rank those players and then you get 3 players that only play Mercy in the same game. So then they have to play other players, but how do they rank as the other players? And I think in MOBAs you have kind of similar things, but in Overwatch it's such a hard divide with some of those characters because in MOBAs you still have some of the gameplay strategical elements, but in Overwatch you could just be really out on a limb there if you can't play a hit scan and all of a sudden there's no hit scans and they got a Pharah. You know,
I know how that goes.
That's what I think. I think because I feel like I can see it sometimes. I'm like, well, shit, we don't have anybody that can do this.
That's me on DPS when there's a Pharah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think Overwatch is really fun, but I have kind of experienced that a little bit, and I really think it's how do you rank those different characters
Right.
efficiently. But
Fair enough.
I don't know. That's my thought.
All right. Enough
right,
for
should
Kujo's
we-
sake.
Should we rank our movie this week?
let's do
Well,
it.
I can tell you one other thing I finished up. I did just finish season 5 of Better Call Saul.
Oh, tell us about it. Is it good? Don't spoil it though.
Oh, it is fantastic. Should watch. You definitely should watch Breaking Bad first, but definitely watch Better Call Saul.
Gotcha.
I need to
on
watch
my
both of
list.
those still.
Oh,
I
Breaking
haven't watched
Bad.
Breaking Bad.
You gotcha. It's pretty good.
Breaking Bad's great.
Okay, we're talking about shows at work today, and I haven't watched The Office either.
At all?
No,
Oh,
I mean I've
man.
watched a few episodes, but I was just saying, just real fast. I was just
Cooter,
saying,
do you like The Office? Cooter probably fucking hates The Office because he's.
Oh,
a fucking-
hold on. You're coming at me. You're coming at me tonight. I don't know if I appreciate
I
it.
just feel like you'd be like, oh, it's not
it's
realistic.
dry.
Oh. I don't know. Like I've only seen a handful of
He hates
episodes
it.
of The Office.
Listen to this.
I feel like even that might be too many.
Oh my god, here we go. Oh my god.
What do you want me to say? I love The Office. I haven't seen enough episodes of it to really have an opinion on it. All I know is it was the talk of the town for like
The talk
forever.
of the town.
talk of the world for
Also,
No, it's
Years.
nothing. It's talk of the town.
when it was first when it was popular, I was younger, so I don't know, for some reason the humor didn't I didn't think the humor was funny for whatever reason, but
Because
now I know I can respect it because it's obviously a very popular series, and there's just some stuff that you're like, that's fucking hilarious. Like how did they make that?
yeah, it's a hilarious show. Have you ever seen Seinfeld, Quinn?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Kudra, do you like Seinfeld?
Seinfeld's okay.
All right, it's okay. Great. Thanks for those depth thoughts, Kudra.
Yeah. Anyway.
I assume at this point you're just waiting for me to give an absolutely glowing review with like the most flowing, like, I love this thing sort of language.
No, Kudra, I just want you to be you. Let's just be you, Kudra.
See, I'm being me right now, and I'm getting mocked. So you're sending mixed messages. Tell me what you want, Colton. What do you want?
I just gotta check. I just gotta get the answers. Otherwise, nobody's gonna know. All right, should we do our ranking of? All right. Which one of you guys is it? Quinn, are you introing this?
I can do it.
Definitely not discuss
jumping on my lap. Move, dog. Go away. Do we know what number this is?
Ooh, I can find out for you. I got to open that page anyways. Let me.
Thanks.
Sorry, I'm not prepared.
Episode 10.
Kudra, tell us a joke.
Episode 10.
Oh,
he beat you to it.
Number. Shit.
He doesn't need a joke.
Colton, we're about to discuss one.
Wow. All right, spoiler.
All right.
All right.
Welcome to Ranking of Video Game Movies, episode number 10. We're reviewing Resident Evil, the original movie from 2002. Starring Mila, and I'm going to get this wrong. What did you say, Kudra? Jovovich?
Mila Jovovich.
Jovovich. With the Y sound. As Alice, the main character. And yeah, I can pull up a little plot summary real fast and we can kind of go through it. Stop me if you guys want to add anything.
Yeah.
But the story's set around the Hive. It's an underground research laboratory, I think like a half mile below ground.
Yeah, some sort of research laboratory.
Under Raccoon City. Or Raccoon City, as they say in the movie. And it's run by the Umbrella Corporation, which is an evil capitalistic corporation that has no regard for...
Allegedly.
Right, allegedly. But it seems like it's kind of does everything. Just, it does pharmaceuticals, does home products. It's the evil corporation. It's
deadly zombie viruses.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But secretly they're manufacturing a deadly zombie virus, like Colton said, a biological weapon. And so the main character, Alice, she's a security operative. We don't know it in the beginning. The plot device they kind of uses flashbacks to kind of make the story.
Yeah, in the beginning, they all get hit with magic dust that makes them forget what happened. They have short-term memory loss, so that's why none of the characters remember who they are.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of open up in the Hive and stuff's going down. It's kind of innocuous. We're not really sure what's happening, and then all of a sudden, this place is locking down for a reason that we kind of see of. A vial gets thrown by some person, and then it's obviously something dangerous. So the AI system locks it down, and then we
locks it down. You mean it kills everybody?
Yeah, it kills everybody. Yeah, because obviously something bad is happening with that vial that was broken. And the last thing you see is the people in the elevator. You think the elevator is going to drop down, but then it stops. And then they try to push a woman out of the elevator to escape. But then the AI system sees what's happening and decapitates the girl. so she's
Yeah,
stuck with her
can
head
we-
out. And
Can we
yeah.
also say that's not how elevators work? So if you've ever seen horror movies with fucked up elevator things, that's not how elevators work. So they have these teeth in them that when they're gonna fall, like that tooth is gonna push out. Like that's how they're built. Like you're not gonna have that elevator scene that you see in this movie. Like that's just not how the elevator is designed. So rest your fears of that because that's not how elevators work.
Well, in the movie's defense, though, on this one, that very well may have been the Red Queen doing her thing at the time.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
Fair
what I was
point.
thinking.
Sure.
So it's not just a mechanical failure; it's manipulation.
I believe elevators have not it's not like a
Electronic.
thing. Yeah, it's not like a thing a computer could control. It's like a
Right.
fail safe. But
Mhm.
but we'll say the Red Queen did this. Yeah. All right.
But anyway, after that, it's kind of it's a suspenseful death type of thing. You don't know what's going to happen. So then it moves to, we pan to Alice. She's laying down in the shower. Come
Hot.
to find out, yeah, she was knocked out for some reason. But yeah, and then who comes first, the police officer guy or the SWAT team?
Right. They all get congregated down into the hive. And
Right.
a big question we could bring up is why did Alice and Spencer, is that the guy's name? Mr.
Yeah, I think so.
Why did they have to be brought down into the hive too? I'm not sure. So that was unclear to me, but
Right.
either they all get down into the hive, right? Like
Mhm.
eventually you end up in the hive with these military guys, which I did anyone understand when they came in? Was it ever explained why or who they were? To me, they
What,
were
the-
just
The SWAT team members?
yeah. Who
Yeah,
were
they were I mean, they're working for the Umbrella Corporation as well.
Oh, okay, so they're employed by Umbrella Corporation.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
at the time when the movie was happening, they explained that they were under the Umbrella Corp was under the impression that the Red Queen had gone haywired and
Right.
murdered all of the
people.
and effectively murdered all of the workers in
Okay.
the hive. So
Gotcha.
the SWAT team was sent down to effectively
Shut her
destroy
down.
the Red Queen. Shut her
Okay,
down.
I must have missed that exposition because I saw the SWAT team. I'm like, wait, did we know who are these people?
Yeah,
Yep. And
it was
then
kind of the plan.
Yeah,
They were
sure.
trying to do.
Okay.
I do agree, though. At the time I didn't fully understand why they dragged the one
Right.
guy with him. It didn't seem to make any sense. What's interesting is that he still had a plot thread connecting him to the hive, but
Why would they bring him there? Like,
Yeah,
anyways, we will just kind of believe that and say okay. I guess.
well, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense why they would bring her to, or why they didn't know
Yeah.
who she was.
Right.
If they were working for Umbrella, as we later find out in the movie.
Mhm.
But it's just, yeah, they find, I think his name's JD in the train. And so then they all travel on the train. Turns out they only have a certain amount of time to escape because the blast doors will close.
Right.
So they're taking the train in. They're trying to figure out what's going on. And they don't see anybody. They don't see any bodies. There's nobody around. And then they're standing in a hallway and a floating body floats up against the glass and it scares you. So it's kind of trying to build suspense that obviously something evil is gonna come at them or happen. And so they make it out to where they need to, doing all the technological tricks, hacking everything, breaking into the mainframe, all that bullshit. And then they make it to what was the cafeteria it was called, on the map it was called the, I don't know, cafeteria B something like that.
Is that before the kill hallway?
That was, yeah, before the kill hallway.
Right. That's right before the kill hallway, right?
Right. So then they're out there and then they figure out their plan. They need to go essentially use an EMP to shut the Red Queen down. And so 2 people stay, I think, back.
Yeah,
right?
people stay back. People go to like shut the AI down that's like
Right.
running rampant. Yeah, then that's when they come up to the kill hallway, and then
Right.
and at this point I feel like the movie has like not really given definition to a lot of the characters. And it's just like you got Alice and the other guy Spencer, we find out his name later, and then a bunch of military people.
Mhm.
And then you go to the kill hallway, it kills some people, and like they meet the Red Queen at some point, shut the Red Queen down. Red Queen says, "You're gonna die here," and they ignore her and still shut the place down. Then they go, and then when they leave is when they start running into all the zombies, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
because the
that's-
Red Queen was keeping them contained.
Right.
Right.
So by shutting the Red Queen down, they deliberately made things worse, which really could just be the movie in itself. It's just the protagonist constantly making things worse.
Right, but the Red Queen, it seems like also was trying to kill them. I
He's
Well,
don't
like
understand.
testing them, it seems like.
I
right.
don't think it was that, because if I remember the dialogue correctly, they were explaining what they were going to do to the Red Queen in like when they were walking through the hallway, the laser hallway. And she really didn't activate her defense systems until after they mentioned that.
Yeah.
So I almost wonder if that was more the Red Queen of, oh, if they're going to do this, then I had better stop them before they get to me.
So we're almost like asserting depth to the Red Queen.
Well, honestly, I mean,
Yeah.
I would maybe make an argument that the Red Queen is like brutal, but she was probably
correct for
she may
humankind.
actually have been the good guy in this movie.
Yeah. Well, okay. So in the process of all this, like they're trying to escape these zombies, and the zombies kill a couple of the people and bite a couple others. We start to see the flashbacks where you see flashbacks of Alice, our main character, who is talking to another employee of Umbrella Corp, I think, about getting secret documents out to expose Umbrella Corp. And then eventually Spencer starts to get his memory back, and he was pointing some kind of listening device to hear Alice talk. And you see that this is where you get the heel turn of Spencer, where he's getting his memory back, and then Alice is seeing it on his face, and it's like there's a gun in between them, and
I got
it's like
whiplash.
they both realize that Spencer realizes, oh no, Alice is the enemy, and then they both race for the gun. Spencer gets the gun. You get a whole scene. And what happens then? Spencer locks them in a room, kind of, eventually at the end of it.
Yeah, he escapes because he realizes that he got his memory all back all at once.
Right.
And we
And
find out he's the one
he
who
has the
released
antivirus. Yeah, and he has the antiviral hidden with him where they found him first.
Yeah, he knows where it's at.
For some
At the
reason, they
train.
didn't open. Or I guess it wasn't hid with him, was it? It was
on the
different
train.
place.
Yeah, he knew where it was though, so he locked them in basically.
But it
and
wasn't
went
with
to-
him. I was thinking it was with him when they found him, but it wasn't.
Yeah,
Never
it
mind.
was. Yep.
But yeah, so then he runs away to get the antiviral, and then there's a big monster that kills him.
The
and he
liquor.
mutates
Yeah.
The
because
liquor.
he.
That's what it's called.
I know. We can always count on you for that.
But then we find one of the heroes, or I would say the fan favorite guy, saves them at the last second, opens the door by using they had a fail safe where he could turn off the circuit breaker to shut her down. So they made like a kind of a bargain with the Red Queen to allow them to escape. So he shuts it off right at the right moment, which allows them to escape the room. They escape on the train. They think they're all in the clear. But the big scary monster is still out there, somehow catches up to the train and starts
Just
ripping it apart.
rips through the metal train car while they're on
Right.
it.
And then Alice tries to save the one girl, and we think that everything's
Rain.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
Rain. The guy that saved them from the room, he dies from the monster. So it was. I get
Everyone
what they were trying
gets
to do.
killed.
They were trying to say, "Oh, everything's good," and then
Yeah.
catch you by surprise.
Because
Oh.
so Rain is like a character they've made as somebody they want to make you feel like is a main character, played by
Right.
Michelle Rodriguez, famous from Fast and Furious movies. And she gets bit, and like then like they give her the antidote, but they're like, oh, maybe it's too late. And then in this fight scene on the train, you figure out it was too late because she turns into a zombie, and you get that classic scene of like, oh, this person I knew is a zombie now right in front of me, about to kill me.
Yeah, I mean, and then he hit a trick shot on her.
Yeah.
Shot her in the head and then used her dead body to open the bottom of the train car. But yeah, then the monster dies by Alice going superhuman spy.
I mean, not really. I mean, she traps its tongue with a sharpened like metal pole.
Oh yeah,
they open the trap. They open the trap door floor, like the trap floor on the train.
Why does the train have a trap floor?
I don't know.
Well, they used it in the beginning to start the train up, so they threw in that little bit of, oh, we need to power up the train. So they had to use the trap door so we could use it later.
So, and then the thing catches on fire and it dies.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah, question of the week: do trains have trap doors?
I was more talking about it because they made it very clear every time Alice did something like with her martial arts or something you don't expect her to do. It's very clear. They make it, oh, it's like a flashback, like a muscle memory thing.
Yeah.
That's all I was trying to say. Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, you're overdoing it now. There's got to be a point where you realize, oh, she remembers everything. Yeah. Not just bits and pieces at random times when she needs it.
Right.
But so only two of them escape. Well, the one guy got scratched. Oh, you had something to add, Kudrow? Sorry.
Well, literally, I was just gonna say that's like he got scratched by the liquor, so that's just pretty important.
So they escape, and then they're swarmed by these hazmat people, and they're trying to get the antidote into the guy that got scratched, but they couldn't do it. And there's a voiceover by I would assume someone important, Umbrella Corp.
Yeah, right.
Saying they want to open the hive back up, and they want to use this guy for some program that they have.
The
Nemesis
program,
which is probably gonna come into play, I'm sure, in the next Resident Evil movie.
Right. And then Alice is kind of blacked out, I guess. I don't know. She's drugged.
Wakes up in her paper outfit.
Right. Hooked up to 50 needles. And then she pulls the needles out, escapes using one of the needles to hack the key card, and then she walks out into the world, and it's a zombie apocalypse. There's nobody to be seen, but everything's in ruins, and obviously shit went down when she was unconscious, and so that's kind of the cliffhanger
of what's to come. Resident Evil.
Yeah. What do you think, Kudrow? Let's get your
Kudrow, let's start at the bottom here.
You want to start? This is new.
No, you got to give us the floor here.
I mean, I feel like we're a little bit pre-ranking, so
no, you don't have to rank it. Just give us the hot takes. You got some hatred you want to get out about this movie. I can tell.
I mean, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm very biased against this movie from the onset. I really don't like Resident Evil. I don't even like the good Resident Evil.
But this wasn't. The thing is, you don't like horror movies, but I don't feel like this was really a horror movie.
It's more like an action movie with horror elements. Because one of the things that really bothered me about the beginning was they kept really trying to like do cheap jump scares.
Yeah, because Resident Evil.
I just kept like, come on, like stop, please. You're just making yourself look worse. What else? But the CGI is definitely dated. That liquor.
All right, let's talk CGI.
Bad.
We're talking.
Can we just call it the monster?
The monster, yes. So in my notes, I called it the super monster. Let's talk about the CGI, Kudrow, because I don't think the CGI was great, but if I think about Mortal Kombat Annihilation, I'm like, well, this is better than that.
Well, I would hope it's better than that because Annihilation was late 90s. This is early 2000s.
This is like
so
4
the
years
CGI
later.
Should have taken a step up.
I think it did if you compare it to Annihilation. I think if you look at Annihilation, this is much better use of CGI.
I agree.
I think, okay, I thought the train scene CGI was actually less bad than the earlier CGI in the movie with like the monster running. I felt like that was really bad.
I'd give you that. I wouldn't
But
argue against
I don't
that.
think it was good. I'm not here to say it was good. I'm just saying if I look at other stuff, you know, like Annihilation, and I don't. I would agree. The worst part of the movie was the liquor.
Let's see here. What else could I complain about? We have a bunch of apparently very trained SWAT-ish team members, and despite the fact that they unload entire clips into a zombie,
they really
chest,
do. They like totally panic shoot.
They
every
never.
time.
I understand that soldiers are trained to shoot center mass because there's the most to hit there.
Yeah,
but if you unload an entire clip into something and it just stands back up, I would hope you think to do something different.
No, that's a good criticism that they're like highly trained SWAT members and they can't seem to fucking function with a rifle in their hand.
Well, especially with slow moving enemies, call it.
Yeah.
Like you have time to make a decision. It's not like you're strapped for time and you need to make a split second decision. They're walking at you.
Yeah. If we're still talking about the bad stuff, let's talk about Rain, the character played by Michelle Rodriguez. It just feels like overly acting macho female through like the whole thing.
Yeah.
And does she kind of do this in Fast and Furious too, in a way? It's almost like too overdone.
Very serious.
Yeah, and like to a level of like unbelievability. I don't know.
Just kind of her thing. I feel like
I think she kind of does that in Fast and Furious too. I don't like that character in this movie. It fits more in Fast and Furious because Fast and Furious is just even more out. Fast and Furious is more outlandish than Resident Evil.
Maybe later installments, maybe, but I haven't seen any.
Yeah,
I've
later
only seen
ones.
3 Fast and the Furious movies, so.
Well, I've seen all of them, Kudra. I can tell you all about them.
I really don't want you
to.
So I have an interesting question I want to ask you guys because I feel like there's some cultural significance to this movie, though.
Yeah, definitely. What's up?
So when it first came out, wasn't it a pretty big deal? Like, it made a blip at least.
If we put it in the context, right, like what other video game movies up to this time, I think it probably is pretty good compared to the other movies that have come out. Something we can note if we're comparing it to other movies, same director as the first Mortal Kombat movie, which is probably one of my favorite video game movies. That first Mortal Kombat movie has the same director as this Paul W.S. Anderson. In terms of zombie movies, like if
I was
you
gonna
look
say
at
zombie movies.
Yeah, no, I think in terms of early's, like, yeah, it's before that like zombie craze. It's before The Walking Dead.
Weren't there like old zombie movies like back in like the 60s?
No,
70s?
I'm not.
I feel like
I'm not
zombies
saying
have been around for a long time.
Kudra, I'm not saying. Yeah, I'm not saying it's the first zombie movie, but like post 2009, 2010, zombie, like the idea of zombie things like exploded. I don't know. It got very.
It was a big market for sure.
Yeah.
I think due to the advances in makeup and CGI and stuff like that, where you can add more detail.
I would agree. This kind of predates that, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I kind of was okay with some of that stuff in this movie. I think some of the things Kudra points out, I agree with, but the other parts I was kind of okay with. Like I things I like are the music. So the music in like super high intense scenes where it gets into like this weird metal stuff, I don't think is good. All of the other music I feel like is amazing for this movie. Kind of reminds me of like Metroid Prime a little bit in like its styling of not the intense music, the non-intense music. I really like the lower intensity music in this movie. I think it's very good. Cinematography, I think the way a lot of the scenes are shot is actually pretty good. The way the zombie scenes are shot, I feel like works pretty good. A big problem I have is I think like you don't get a lot of the plot until like the last half hour of the movie. It's like for the first hour plus, you're kind of confused about what's going on, and then the last half hour like is like, oh, here's what the movie's about.
Yeah.
And that kind of frustrated me a little bit watching this because I'm like, after I got done, I'm like, oh, I kind of like that last half hour. But then I'm like, wait, but like I was so pissed the first hour, it didn't tell me shit. I'm like, I don't know why the hell these people are here or who they are.
Right.
So I feel like it like waited too long to reveal anything. It didn't have to reveal everything, but it revealed like nothing until
I
like
agree
this
with that.
until the scene where they had the big remembrance,
Mhm.
and then here you go. So to me, like that last half hour was a way better movie than the first hour plus.
Yeah, I started talking to Kudrow a little bit about that before
Yeah.
because I didn't have a problem with that because I watched it in halves.
Yeah.
I watched the first half and then I was like, well, that kind of was a waste of my time.
The second half was
And then
way
I watched the
better.
second half. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
like now everything is known. I understand.
Yeah.
I got the what was supposed to be the good parts of the movie,
Right.
whereas the first half it was just kind of there.
And then other scenes like I like, okay, how do you feel about the dog scene where she runs up a wall and jump kicks and
Right.
kicks a zombie? I'm like, that's super cheesy, but I kind of loved it. I'm like, yeah, this is what I'm here for.
I feel like once you accept this as kind of like a B film,
Mhm.
it actually becomes a little bit better.
Cooter's on the B movie train now. You hear that? Yeah. No, I
Well, yeah, because I just feel like Alice, like in particular, like she does some stuff like, you know, they're talking about you can unload an entire like clip of a gun into a zombie in the chest and it just kind of gets back up. But then I feel like there were other times where Alice just punches a zombie and it just stays down.
agree. That's yeah.
Right.
I
She gets
sometimes-
some leg strangles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point, Kudrow. I agree. It's like in this world, it's like headshot is the only thing that matters, or I don't know.
To be fair, though, I will actually give them the action for this one. Like because one of the things they did say was like, you know, severe head trauma or separate like, you know, the spine, you know,
Spinal cord.
and you see a few times where Alice breaks the neck of the zombie and it stays down. So, you know, kudos there.
Another cool scene when Rain shoots a zombie, like she unloads the clip into the zombie and it cuts to the zombie and he just like levitates off the ground and flies back. That was another good
Oh, and yeah, in the cafeteria.
yeah.
Wait, I just thought of a segment within this.
Okay,
For
let's
each
do
thing
it.
we do, we get Kudrow's kudos.
Kudrow's
So
kudos.
he has to say something nice
He's
about
got to
the
say
movie.
something nice. All right, Kudrow's kudos. What are Kudrow's kudos for this movie?
Oh, so I have to come up with something nice to say now.
No,
One-
you already said it. You already
What
said it.
was Kudrow's kudo?
He was talking about the spinal cord.
Oh yeah. So
Oh, there you go. That's
the-
Kudrow's
the
kudo.
brain. Yeah.
We need to get a little animation.
let me see. All right, fine.
Um,
I'll take this shot. Let me see what I can
Can
say
we-
nice about the movie.
Another actor I want to talk about is the lead police officer guy or military guy.
He's familiar. I've
One
seen him
his
before.
I looked his name up. It's Colin Salmon. Anyways, what a cool voice that guy has.
Mhm.
Also, I think he's the best actor in this movie. You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about, Kudrow? Like though he gets killed in the kill hallway.
Yeah, I know who you're talking
Lyston
about.
dies.
He's the last dude who dies in the kill
Yeah.
hallway.
That was the biggest upset death for me was that guy. I'm like, oh,
He actually had a brain. He actually tried to
Yeah.
move out of the way of the
he was-
lasers.
right. Also,
Except he didn't think to run backwards.
brings up another little segment I had, relation to the game. So things in this movie that are like the game or video games. So like Resident Evil, okay, so we have Umbrella Corporation, that's in the game. There's a mansion. The first Resident Evil takes place in a mansion. So this play on the mansion is literally coming from the first Resident Evil game where it takes place in a mansion. Zombie dogs. A big thing in Resident Evil, you had zombies, you had zombie dogs in Resident Evil. So they definitely pulled that from the game. How they kind of are moving rooms to get around away from the liquor. like that's a thing in Resident Evil games where you have a big bad thing you're trying to kind of avoid by routing around it. Like that's a thing in Resident Evil games. That kind of reminded me of that. And then the last thing is the laser hallway. Like there was a laser that you had to jump over, and then one you had to duck under. Like that's the most video game thing I've ever seen. Like that's classic 2D side scrolling.
Good points.
Um,
Did you have another kudos, Kudrow?
no, that's the only thing you liked about the movie.
I mean, the laser scene was definitely intense, but
I feel like I didn't hate this movie. Like I the biggest thing for me is just that they didn't tell me what the hell was going on until over an hour into it.
Right.
So but overall, like I think for when this came out, I kind of think the zombie stuff was all right. Definitely cheesy in a lot of ways. I don't know if you call it cheesy or campy at that point, but
You gonna rank it?
I guess I could. I liked the movie. Kudrow's made good points about the weaknesses of it, and I agree with that. But I feel like it does the zombie thing okay, and it redeems itself in that last half hour of kind of telling a story, making some story around the characters. A lot of it's just super convenient and just like works for the story, everything in the nick of time. But I think it's an okay movie, and I think I'm gonna rank it a C. I think it's an okay movie. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna stay at a C. I'm standing strong at C. I debated between D+ and C, but I'm like, for a video game movie, it was actually all right. So I'm gonna go with C.
All right. Do you want to go next, Kudrow, or you want?
Well, I just have a question for Colton about his ranking. Now, are you saying it's a C for being a video game movie, or it's C as a movie?
Because I think if you're just saying as a movie, maybe you have more of a case for a D+, but we'll go with the C for now. I think it's a C.
All right. Do you want to go, Kudrow, or you want me to go?
I'll just go.
Okay. Sound disappointed.
I don't know. I mean, I kind of agree with Colton. Like, this is not the worst movie we've watched.
Oh, wow.
I don't think it's a C. I fully admit the bias is here. I don't even really like Resident Evil's good stuff. So, but
thanks for admitting that.
Yeah.
It gives good context.
But I don't think this is an E. I don't think this is an F. I feel comfortable at a D.
Okay. All right.
Quinn, what do you
considering
feel like?
The movie wasted my time for the first hour or so,
yeah,
I got to give it a D+.
Right.
I was impressed with the zombies. I think that was one of my most appreciated things about this movie.
I think that's
I was surprised.
Criticism. Yeah. No, go ahead.
At the quality, I guess it surprised me. I thought it was pretty good for what the movie
right
offered.
I thought like the cinematography and like I felt like that stuff kind of worked almost kind of like how the first Mortal Kombat did, directed by the same guy.
Yeah, there also were some points where the characters were doing something and I was like, why would you do that? That's right. It's just so corny.
Why would you even?
Why are you standing there? why are you standing there for that long doing nothing?
Yeah, for sure.
Stuff like that, but yeah, I think D+ is a solid rating.
It's a fair rating. All right, so where do we want to put this in our overall ratings? It sounds like we're in the D tier. I think I would agree with putting this in the D tier. So the question is, do we think this is above or below Tomb Raider?
Above.
The original Tomb Raider. I would agree it's above Tomb Raider. Kudrow?
first Tomb Raider?
Yeah. The best Tomb Raider. Oh
Ah.
no, we rated the new one above it.
I mean, I'm kind of outvoted either way, but I think, I mean, I personally like Tomb Raider more, but I'm
Okay.
fine with it. I'm
You're
fine
fine with it.
It's
All right,
not that important to me, but
He's fine with
Yeah,
it.
it's really not. Like, this is not something I'm going to fight.
All right, as of right now, then we'll put it above Tomb Raider. Resident Evil gets a D. Sick.
Yeah, and based on average rankings.
Oh yeah, it's probably a
this
little
is,
higher. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. What else we got? Anything?
that dogs
Well-
sit there like that all the time.
Oh yeah. So this is my dog back here. He likes to sit on the top level of the couch. He likes to have perches, so he can police the cat.
It was funny when he walked up there.
Yes, I'll go up there.
Well, I suppose we need to ask, what is the movie for next week?
Oh,
Oh,
great.
yeah.
Are we doing a ranking of Cage next?
I think so.
All right, we'll
Unless
do
you
ranking.
wanna binge watch all the Resident
We should
Evil
just watch the
movies.
new one, the one where he's was he a vampire or something like that?
No, we already
Count
watched that one.
Dracula.
No,
No,
there
the
is a new one.
where the new one where he's a vampire,
hold on. What's
like
it
actually
called?
brand new. Or there's the one where he plays himself.
The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I actually wanted to watch that.
Well, you gotta save that one because it's a Nicolas Cage movie. You can't watch it without us. It'd kind of be disrespectful.
It would
I'm
be.
not gonna watch it yet.
But I keep
Renfield.
seeing that meme. Oh yeah.
It releases April 14th.
Oh, so that's way off.
Yeah, we still have.
We still have like
4
50
weeks.
more regular Nicolas Cage movies to watch.
Yeah, there's more than 50.
A lot of garbage to sift through.
All right, so Firebirds is the name of the movie.
Not more birds.
No, it's this looks like a military movie. Hold on, I will tell you about it.
You know, it's not a good movie when you
I got
put
the
it into
description
Google
right here if
and
you
it
want me
doesn't
to.
show up as the
Go for it,
top.
Kudra.
So, Firebirds. The U.S. government is willing to help any country that requires help in ridding themselves of drugs with support from the Army.
What's the
Hashtag
drug
on
war?
drugs.
It's the war on drugs.
Unfortunately, the drug cartels have countered that offer by hiring one of the best air combat mercenaries and have armed him with a Scorpion attack helicopter. The Army decides to send in its best people from its Apache Air Combat School. But first, they have to be taught how to fly air-to-air combat missions. So, it's Top Gun with drug cartels
And helicopters.
So
and helicopters.
does propaganda count as a movie?
Hashtag war on drugs.
Federal government propaganda?
Oh man, I guess so. It appears
Okay.
it does.
I mean, as long as Nicolas Cage got paid well.
I don't know. Yeah. I'm gonna play more Persona this weekend.
I'm gonna try to play more Wolong.
Um,
I wanna clear through the game pretty quickly. So there is DLC already confirmed for that, so that's exciting.
Great, just what I need.
Well, because like you could buy the the season pass with it, and it said it had like 3 DLCs listed for it. So, and
Great.
then if it's going to be anything like Neo, they're going to release the DLC, and then you're going to have an additional difficulty to go along with it.
Nice, just what I needed. All right, cool. Are we good for this week then?
I think so.
All
I
right,
think
cool.
so.
See you guys next week.
Good night, everyone.